Haha, professional streamer over here. I can see the mic, I can see the game. Looks good, at least sound-wise. Hey, Chidari. Apologies for the delay. Ooh, this plays every time I start the game. Okay. I mean, I'm here. If you see my camera doing weird things, it's something that I don't know what it is. Maybe the latest Windows update. There's some religious trivia I learned today. The Buddha asserted life is suffering, having realized he'd been born 2,500 years before Natsuhi's streams. What? Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. You're too kind. Let's move on. I load. You're too kind. I'm so sorry for being late. Hope things are visually more or less okay.
Yeah, Shokun.
Hey, Cross.
当主様は具合が優れられないとのことだ。
Hey, Nick, I guess? I don't know how to read your name, but hey, hello. Also, hi, Zecto. How's it going? Yeah. We ended on the note of Kinzo. Yeah, it's coming back to me, yes.
せっかくこうして1年ぶりの会合に集まってくれた諸君と昼食を共にできないことを非常に残念にしておられた。
Yeah, he definitely...
ゴーダ、ランチを始めてくれ。
He definitely feels...
かしこまりました。それでは本日の昼食を始めさせていただきます。
南條先生、そんなにお父様のお具合は悪いの？せめて顔くらい見せてくれてもいいわよね。
体調というよりは機嫌ですな。こればかりはつける薬がありませんので。
That's true.
おいおい、機嫌ってまたかよ。そりゃないぜ。こちとら、秋のクソ忙しい時期にスケジュール都合して、ご機嫌伺いに来てるんだ。それをよ。
よかったじゃないか、ルドルフ。ご機嫌は伺えたんだ。それとも、不機嫌な親父殿を私に代わり、お前が説得して連れてきてくれるのかね？
まさか。
Rudolph shrugged. Apparently, even though Rudolph seemed to resent the way his father did whatever he pleased, he'd rather avoid seeing his face if he could help it.
夕食までにはその機嫌治りそうなの？クラウス兄さん。
そんなことは知らんよ。親父殿に直接聞いてみるといい。もっとも、声をかけない方が機嫌の治りは早いと思うがね。
源氏さんだけだよ。じい様の機嫌を直せるのは。
Embrace your inner geek.
Hi, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome.
情けないぜ。自分の親の機嫌を使用人に直させるんだからよ。
ジェシカ、余計なことは言わなくていい。
She'd planned for her complaint to be heard only by her cousins, but it had reached even Krause's ears. Ugh, so many S's there. Krause's ears. Scolded, Jessica scowled and turned away, sulking.
機嫌がうんぬんってことは、病状はそんな悪くないんじゃねえの？元気がないってんならともかく、機嫌が悪いってのは、少なくとも気はしっかりしてる証拠だぜ。
おじい様は、特に強い気力をお持ちだからね。でも、体が必ずしもそれに伴えるとは限らないよ。去年からずっと、余命3ヶ月って言われ続けてる。最初の診断が正しいなら、おじい様は気力だけで流らえてるってことになる。気遣ってあげないといけないよ。
Lunch started with the family's head seat still empty. The man who should have been sitting there was already old, and the brilliant glory which had rebuilt the Ushiromiya family in a single lifetime was slowly being forgotten. Nobody seemed to feel uncomfortable when the meal began with that seat still empty. The Ushiromiya family conference was held once every year. It took place on the first weekend of October. If a normal family were to use a pretentious name like family conference, you'd expect it to be nothing more than a reunion of rarely seen relatives who greet each other surrounded by buckets of sushi. However, in the Ushiromiya family, where the sons and siblings are lent great fortunes, and only those that achieve success in business are considered adults, it literally was a conference. How much of the fortune was invested? What kind of business was conducted? How much was earned? As a result, how much of the fortune borrowed from the main family could be repaid? Or, alternatively, how much would be borrowed for future business ventures? What lessons had they learned, and what could they learn from their mistakes? It seems that topics like these had been discussed very seriously in the past. My dad called it a bed of nails. Apparently, it used to be a very serious family meeting where one would commonly be showered with harsh and angry voices, and even get slapped in the face despite being well past the age for it. However, that was all a thing of the past. By now, everyone had achieved success in their own independent business ventures, and it was on the road to becoming a normal yearly get-together. Okay, that sounds a bit healthier. Good God. Even so, being asked by grandfather about the current state of play was an extremely stress-inducing event, and while to us grandchildren it was nothing more than a simple meeting, to our parents it was still a real stomachache. The absence of the man responsible for all this, whatever the reason behind it, must surely have made today's lunch even more delicious. The phrase, "when the cat is away, the mice will play," comes to mind. Well then, let me introduce Jessica's father, whose face I haven't seen for 6 years. The man sitting to my dad's left is his older brother, and the father of Jessica, Uncle Kraus, I suppose. This name sure is easy to read. Kraus. After so many weird names, it warps your sense of what's normal and you start to think, hey, what's wrong with Kraus? Sounds pretty cool, actually. Just like with and Natsuhi, I don't have many memories of speaking with Uncle Kraus. Who's that baddie? He apparently is Kraus. Hello. Nice to meet you, I suppose. So how are you, Kevin? How is it going? Tell me, spill the beans. Investor and boxer extraordinaire. Okay. He had never been one to talk to children, and I felt like he was always talking with the adults, just like Aunt Natsuhi. From the way my dad talked about him, it seems that he used to be a pretty spiteful and unreasonable person. If what dad said is true, he used to be very domineering as the oldest sibling, and was hated by Auntie Eva, Auntie Rosa, and the rest of the family. Odd, considering they're all having fun chatting together. Yeah. Contrast between what you see on the outside and what must be inside each of them. Hey Bloodnico, how's it going? The beans is that I wasn't talking about the guy on screen, of course. What? Hope you read the name trivia I posted. I did read. Although I did not memorize it, so right now I don't recall exactly what it is about Krauses, but I will check it again. So you mean I'm the baddie? Or wait, I'm confused. I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired. Well, I guess even if their relationship was bad when they were children, sometimes when people grow up and go their separate ways, their relationship changes. That's probably what it is. Yeah, a little bit of space. It can make things better. I am the baddie. Okay. After all, they all have children of about the same age. Since they share similar family environments, they probably all profit by exchanging opinions. The Rizzler, oh my god. I would have the feeling that applies a lot more to you than to me, sweetest Kevin. I don't. Maybe because of that, the parents' circle has been deep in conversation for a while now about the exams Jessica and I are going to be taking. Jessica, in order to escape the discussion of exams with the old bastard sitting on her left, was purposefully facing to the right, firing off-topic after firing off topic after topic so as not to give him an opening. Moving on, let's look at the end opposite from Uncle Kraus and the others. In the very last seat at the table, an old gentleman with a sturdy physique sat facing Kirie-san. This was my first time meeting him. I had only just been introduced to him, but it seems that his grandfather's personal doctor, a man called Nanjo. Apparently, he used to own a huge clinic on the nearby Nijima island, but he turned it over to his son and then began living a life of leisure in his old age. He's known grandfather since the very beginning, when the mansion was first constructed on this island, and they have a history going back several decades. I thought he might be grandfather's companion in his suspicious hobbies, but surprisingly it seems that he's grandfather's chess partner. I see, that kind of hobby does seem very like our grandfather with his love of Western style. You could probably also call him the only person able to enter Rokkenjima who is neither a family member nor a servant. From listening in on his conversation with the women folk sitting near him, he gave the impression of a calm old gentleman. Considering he's managed to put up with our short-tempered grandfather for so long, I'm sure his big heart is nothing to laugh at. Still, even if he is his doctor, having someone from outside the Ushiromiya family attending the family conference is a little odd. From that fact, I imagine that grandfather's condition has grown much worse, and it may even be one of the major topics of discussion at the family conference. George Aniki was just saying it too. For the past year, grandfather has been continually pronounced as having very little time left to live. It's awful to talk about, but grandfather is an extremely rich man. At the time of his death, his wealth will suddenly be released along with our parents' stomach acid. Surely leading to some serious ulcers. Interesting metaphor. With this kind of thing, or not metaphor, it could be very literal. With this kind of thing, the greater the number of ways it must be split, the more trouble will be caused splitting it. This kind of talk would probably also be included in the family conference. Oh well, it's not like it has anything to do with us children. Finally, even though he's absent, let me introduce our grandfather. The person who should be sitting in that seat of honor is Ushiromiya Kinzo. It really sucks. He gave everyone else in the family these weird names, but he himself uses one which is conservative as all hell. If only his name were written with those same characters for gold and vault, but let us call him Goldsmith or something. But he let us call him Goldsmith or something. That would be totally awesome. As you can probably gather from all the talk about him, he's a frightening person with an extremely short temper. Because I'm just his grandkid and haven't met him since I was in elementary school 6 years ago, I don't remember ever having been beaten by him, but it seems that our parents were raised with an iron fist. Kinzo the Boldsmith. Ay. That earlier conversation between my dad and Uncle Kraus about who should try to convince grandfather to come out seems oddly funny if you take this into account. In order to tell grandfather's story, you have to take yourself all the way back before the Showa era, which is 1926 to 1989, to recount the tale of the Ushiromiya family. Until the Meiji and Taisho eras, the Ushiromiya family was great and prosperous. Okay. They owned several spinning mills and were very wealthy people who merely had to fall about laughing while the money rolled in. Okay. Incidentally, grandfather, as a member of a branch family, originally had nothing to do with the main family. Distantly separated from the head's inheritance, he apparently had very little involvement with the head house. Ooh, okay, spooky. However, during the Great Kanto earthquake in 1923, the mansion owned by the Ushiromiya main family in Odawara was flattened. The spinning mills in Tokyo were all burned down in a huge fire, and the Ushiromiya family lost most of its wealth and family members in an instant. Oh god. It then became a matter of who would become the heir to the main family, and as it turned out, none were left except for Kinzo, who was as far removed from the main family line as they come. Kinzo himself later said that it was such good luck, it was as though fate itself had been turned upside down. I mean, can you call it good luck given the context? Oh my god. With that, grandfather's ordinary life did an 180. He was entrusted with reviving the wealth that the dying Ushiromiya family had almost completely lost. Of course, just because you suddenly dump a task on someone doesn't mean they can do squat to accomplish it. I doubt the people around him were expecting much. But this is where grandfather began to display his extraordinary talent and good luck. Grandfather used all of the family funds and everything from the hair on his head to his toenails as collateral to borrow a massive amount of money. Created a gigantic supply of funds and immediately started a business. It was like tumbling down a hill on a bike without any brakes, and then jumping onto a neighboring bike and then another one. Just like some crazy street performance. Probably anyone would have thought that grandfather had no business ability. But with unbelievable amount of good luck and miracles, with coincidences piling up and every chance taken advantage of, before anyone knew it, he had forged powerful connections with the Allied forces. At that time, MacArthur and the GHQ were in charge of Japan. Grandfather, in a twinkle of the eye, began succeeding in business under the protection of the occupying forces, quickly becoming very rich. At this point, it was no longer luck but information that won the day. He must have made some seriously thick connections with the occupying forces. Grandfather knew about the emergency demands that would be made for the Korean War before they happened. No, more than that, he must have foreseen these special procurements and started penetrating those markets from the very beginning. History textbooks say that all of Japan made a large profit of the emergency demands for the Korean War, but that wasn't the case in reality. Only a very limited number of the super rich played the money game and made an easy profit. Most of the citizens remained poor. In other words, grandfather was an extremely lucky member of this group of winners. Luck yet again. This all happened during the year 1950, I think. And since the year of the Great Kanto earthquake was 1923, Kinzo the Warsmith. Good one. That means grandfather was able to revive the near-dead Ushiromiya family to a level even higher than it had been before in the span of only 20 to 30 years. With that, you'd think that he would revive the main family in Odawara, but for some reason, he went and did something as crazy as buying an entire small island in the Izu archipelago. Sorry, Izu. Did I read that wrong? I read it wrong, didn't I? Izu archipelago. What is wrong with me? Okay. Buying an entire island is not something that you can ordinarily do today. However, grandfather was clever. He contacted the GHQ and applied for the establishment of a marine resource base. Beatrice. He acquired this island as a business property and then reneged on it and claimed it as his own plot of land. I'm wondering, what year is this taking place in? And how freaking old is Kinzo? After the war, there were prevention measures against food shortages, and furthermore, he had the sponsorship of the GHQ, which meant that nobody could oppose him. It seems that Tokyo provided the land for next to no money at the time. 1986. Oh yeah, it was mentioned, wasn't it? Yeah, my bad. My memory is super bad. Right. Now it falls in line. Okay. Tokyo later made repeated complaints for the land to be returned, but not much could be done due to the involvement of the GHQ, even though they'd been pushed into it. No doubt he'd bribed everyone there was to bribe. In the end, the city gave up in frustration. Grandfather, with considerable skill and blessed with good luck, managed to weather the stormy seas of that period, obtaining a vast fortune in his own island. Of course, it wasn't all luck. He was skilled with English, and this was cultivated by his Western obsession. It was by using that as a weapon that he was able to make inroads into the GHQ. A mansion was immediately built on the island. That would be this mansion. Grandfather, who had always loved the West, made this once uninhabited island, Rokkenjima, a canvas upon which he could realize his dreams to his heart's content. The Western mansion that he had always imagined overflowing with emotion, but the beautiful garden where various roses had been planted. And a private beach where nobody other than himself would ever be permitted to leave a footprint. To have this much would be every man's dream. After that, making good use of his huge fortune, he became a large stockholder in the extremely stable iron and steel industry, and was able to live an easy and comfortable life just using the dividends. Well, he is just that incredible. This kind of person normally gets portrayed after the fact as having the ability to foresee and predict the future or something, but the grandfather denies all of that, repeatedly saying that he was simply blessed with extraordinary luck. Anyway, even a lord like that, with all of his dreams made real, can't help but grow increasingly odd when locked up alone on an island. Everyone knows he's been obsessed with the West for a very long time, but none of our parents really knows when his bizarre black magic hobby began. Perhaps his love of black magic began way back when he became fascinated with the West. Or, possibly, his miraculous stretch of good luck, which allowed him to revive the family, caused him to feel a mysterious power in himself. At some point, grandfather began to make the research of black magic his life's work, filling his study up with suspicious books, chemicals, and magical items as he became increasingly bizarre. These being the few remaining years of a person successful in life, those around him warmly I like the quotes. Warmly watched over him, feeling the time was his to spend as he pleased, or so I hear, but no way in hell that's true. They probably were just driven away, thinking that's disturbing, I don't want to get involved. Well, that war-torn period was a time for big gambles, with both opportunities and risks. I'd like to see grandfather do so well if he'd been born in this time period. He would have had no opportunities and would probably have advanced like a chess piece from mandatory education to college at a leisurely pace, never becoming more than an average company employee. If that had happened, he'd probably be sitting here with the rest of us, regaling us with tales of his shitty boss. No, not here in the dining hall of a mansion. We might have been around a table at some bar. If that were the case, I'm sure that this would have been a more comfortable family conference. Alright. That's enough talk about the old geezer who won't pop off. More importantly, let's talk about this incredible lunch.
前菜の刺身のサラダで俺はすでに確信してたね。幸田さんは大したシェフだぜ。しかも魚は近海で取れたやつだろ。スーパーの刺身とはわけが違ったぜ。
ランチ
おいおいよせよバトラー。育ちがバレちまうだろうが。
Everyone let out a big laugh. Damn it, you say that even though you love these cheap pubs. Those cheap pubs, sorry.
僕も仕事の都合で珍しいところで食事をすることもあるけど、それらと比べてもこれはかなりのものだよ。合田さんは多分その道じゃ少しは知られた人だったんじゃないかな。
よくは知らねえんだけどよ。老舗ホテルでのれん分けだか派閥の分裂だかややこしいことがあってよ。そのトラブルで辞めざるを得なくなっちまったんだってさ。それでその時偶然おふくろが使用人の求人を出してたわけなんだよ。
Employee politics. Interesting. Oh, Bear, go find food! Also, I feel you. Every time one of these novels starts talking about food, I feel like the hungriest person at like 10 p.m. my time. It's just crazy. Yeah. As Goda cleared away the empty plates, he began to recount his own eventful past, never losing his smile.
世の中というのは難しいものです。しかし、そのおかげでこうして今日、 後宮家で再び料理人として腕を振るう機会を賜ることができました。大勢の方の笑顔も嬉しいですが、お仕えすると決めた限られた方々にだけ喜んでいただくために繊細なお仕事ができるのもとても楽しいことでございます。
I'm sorry, I cannot take anything he says seriously since last stream.
これもすべて機会をくださった奥様のおかげです。
Goda-san respectfully bowed his head towards Aunt Natsuhi.
応募のあった中で、ゴーダが一番腕が良かったからです。客観的判断に基づくもので、市場はありませんので、感謝には及びません。
Oh man, why does Aunt Natsuhi always have to speak so frankly? If only she spoke more gently, she might give off a different impression. Shannon-chan and Kumasawa-san entered from the hallway with a serving cart.
失礼いたします。
それでは本日のデザートに移らせていただきます。
Natsuhi best girl? Okay, let's see that. Goda-san and the others laid out the beautifully adorned dessert. I guess it's true when they say you have another stomach for desserts. I'd thought that being fed all that delicious food had totally filled me up. But as soon as I laid eyes on the dessert, my stomach started yelling more. Goda, best girl. Everyone is best girl. I don't know much about desserts, but this looked really good. A white pudding-like substance was garnished with 2 shades of red sauce, and elegant rose petals adorned the dish. When you dine on such magnificent food as this, first it is distributed in front of everybody, and then the chef takes a moment to extol the virtues of his creation. Oh god. Until he has finished, as a rule, you don't touch the food. However, Maria, who had no experience with these ceremonious rules, got excited by this beautiful and delicious-looking dessert and jumped into the fray as soon as it was placed before her. I mean, of course, she's a kid! Nezuri Red Best Girl, aww. You're too kind. Do you like red, Bea? Auntie Rosa scolded her, calling it bad manners, but George responded by saying, now, it's alright.
こっちの酸っぱい。こっちの酸っぱい。バトラ、こっちのは外れ。
Maria exclaimed as she sampled the 2 colored sauces.
なんだと？当たりと外れがあるのかよ。よし、俺も味見をしてやるぜ。
Apparently, the 2 sauces were one sweet and one sour. Nezu the Redsmith. Oh yes, you're on a roll there. Despite it being bad manners, I also stuck my little finger in and licked it. Good. Whoa, one of them was sour enough to make you pucker up. If it were yellow, I'd have suspected lemon, but I couldn't guess what kind of sourness would be red. I decided to ask Shannon, who was putting away the serving cart behind us.
Shannon-chan, この酸っぱいのは何のソースだい?
I was gonna say she likely does not know. Ah, sorry, the other button. Shannon-chan hesitated to speak. Maybe she was just setting the table and doesn't really know. She's hesitating a bit much for that, though. Did I ask something wrong? Red becomes me. Oh, sweet. Red is my mom's favorite color, by the way. She also really likes seeing me wear red. Or did they use something that we'd be better off not knowing about? While Aunt Natsuhi acted as though she had a headache, Kumasawa-san, who was sitting the other side of the table, began to laugh with the ho ho ho.
何の材料を使っていると思いますか？驚きますよ。
全然わかんねえぜ。というか、熊沢のばあさんがそういう笑い方すると不気味でならねえぜ。で、何なんだよ、正体は。
内緒ですよ。お耳を拝借。
Kumasawa-san leaned across from the other side of the table. She'd asked to borrow my ears, so I leaned forward too. Their interest caught. Jessica, George, Aniki, and of course Maria also put their ears closer.
この酸っぱいのはですね、実はお魚のサバの絞り汁ですよ。
はあ?
サバ?
Don't be ridiculous, we all thought, horrified. Only Maria accepted it, nodding with an uh-huh.
ほー、サバは酸っぱいよ。絞ったらこうなる。
No, no, that's not how it works. When Maria started clamoring that mackerels were sour, the adults were unable to contain their laughter.
違うわよ。酸っぱいのはしめ鯖でしょ。
Auntie Rosa said to Maria in a small voice while turning red. Ah, now I remember it perfectly. I started having mackerel from time to time because of Umineko. Oh, the ramifications and effects that the things we love have on our lives. Very interesting. Kumasawa-san was always this kind of a character, wasn't she? I think I remember her tricking me about all kinds of things when I was young as well. Amongst all of them, the most painful must have been that one. That flimsy black stuff you get in Chinese food. Kigurage mushrooms. She told me it was penguin meat. And I went all around school like a smartass telling everyone, didn't I?
熊沢のばあちゃん、相変わらずだな。マリアが信じちゃうだろ？
冗談ですよ。今からゴーダさんがソースの正体を教えてくれますからね。
Goda-san looked a little put out from having his masterpiece laughed at in such a strange way, but after clearing his throat once, he introduced the dessert to us.
それではデザートのご説明をさせていただきます。本日はご来賓の皆様が大層お気に入りでございましたバラの庭園にちなみまして、パンナコッタをローズガーデン風に仕上げてみました。散らしてございますバラの花びらは当家の庭園より先ほど採取してきたものでございます。ソースはストロベリーとローズヒップの2色の赤をご用意しました。ストロベリーの甘味とローズヒップの酸味を交互にお楽しみになってください。なお花びらは観賞用となっておりますので、避けてからお召し上がりくださいませ。それではどうぞお楽しみください。
Ha! Man, I almost want to applaud before I've even eaten it. It's like when you take medicine, you know, how it seems to work better when you've read the instructions? What? No, I don't know that. Goda, shut up! Thanks to Goda-san elaborating on the details of this dessert. I feel like he's knocked it up another notch. Seriously, should you call him meticulous or just talented? The dessert was probably planned from the beginning, but he took a cue from our stopping in front of the rose garden earlier today and displayed an incredibly timely awareness of the season by just adding a few rose petals from that garden. This combination of sweet and sour was also exquisite. If it was just sweet, you'd just get used to it and become bored halfway through. But by bringing in the sour sauce at that point, you'd get a really vivid taste. And then, once you return to the sweet sauce, all of the sourness in your mouth is replaced with an enjoyable sweetness again. Can we move on from the freaking dessert, please? I'm sure everyone else felt the same way. Every time Goda-san passed by one of the seats, someone praised the taste and his creation.
いかがですか、奥様。
相変わらず見事です。お客様をおもてなしするに値します。
恐れ入ります。奥様、ご存知ですか？ローズヒップには頭痛に効く効果もあるそうですよ。奥様に特にお気に入りいただけるかと思い、特別にご用意させていただきました。
そう。ありがとう。
ほら言ったでしょ、夏日姉さん。ローズヒップは頭痛に効くって。
みたいね。聞くといいんだけど。
ああ、ゴーダさん、あんたには惚れるで。なあ、後であんたの待遇を聞かせてや。 無理ならあんたの欲しい年収指立ててくれるだけでもええんやで。あんたの腕がこの島だけで独占されとるのは人類の食文化に対する冒涜や。その腕わしの会社で振るってお客の皆さんを喜ばせてみる気はないかのう。
秀吉さん、うちのゴーダを引き抜かれるのですか？これは困った。ゴーダの待遇をもっと良くしないと引き抜かれてしまいそうだ。
そうした方がいいわね。じゃないと引き抜かれて3食が熊沢さんのサバ料理にされちゃうわよ。
これは手厳しゅうございます。すっかり根に持たれてしまいまして。
Everyone let out a huge laugh. According to Jessica, Kumasawa-san's mackerel jokes were a type of running gag, and our parents had long since gotten used to it. Kumasawa-san often claimed that mackerel contained precious nutrients that could do things such as prevent aging and make people smarter. It seemed that while it couldn't stop the outward signs of aging, it helped prevent aging on the inside. Since she was still healthy enough to tell these kinds of jokes at her age, that benefit must be the real thing.
それでは失礼いたします。夕食にはふるってたくさんのサバ料理をお召し上がりいただきますので、どう？
期待してるよ。今晩はしめサバでキュッとしゃれ込みたいぜ。
それは素敵ね。ついでに日本酒の美味しいのも出てこないかしら。
ええ、ございますよ。六軒島名物のサバ焼酎なるものがございまして。
Kumasawa-san, together with Shannon-chan, bowed and pushed the serving cart away. Amusingly, Goda-san, who looked just as though his stock had been stolen from him, explained very seriously that tonight's dinner would actually be calf steak.
熊沢さん、さっきはありがとうございました。
As she pushed the serving cart, Shannon bowed her head very deeply.
なんもお礼を言われることなんてありません。
Kumasawa played dumb, but it was no accident that she had thrown Shannon a lifeline. Back when Battler had asked for the details of the dessert, Shannon had unfortunately hesitated. There may have been several ways to dodge the question, but all of them should have been delivered deftly. Shannon, who hesitated when hard-pressed for a response, was always suffering because of this small weakness. If only Shannon, like Goda, had a little of the craftiness needed to skillfully shake off a mistake, her days would be a little more comfortable. This weakness was especially unfortunate considering how flawlessly she could handle her work. Of course, there were those who well understood Shannon's meek nature and her inability to remember to gloss over her mistakes, which is why Kumasawa came to her aid without hesitation.
さっき源氏さんが午後のシフトに変更があるとおっしゃってましたよ。確かシャノンさんは夕方までお休みがもらえたと思いました。羨ましい。
すみません。シフト表を確認していませんでした。
That Shannon, yeah, I still am very confused as to what the issue was. Did she really not know, or did she feel like it wasn't her place to answer the question because it should have been done by Goda because he prepared everything? Or is it a third thing that I really did not catch? I'm very confused as to what the topic actually was.
そうそう。
But okay.
オーブンでこれからちょっとサバを焼こうと思ってるんですよ。できたらお休みの前にちょっと手伝ってくれると嬉しいですね。
はい。喜んでお手伝いさせていただきます。
To Shannon, Kumasawa was like a mother among the servants. Oh, cute. The dining hall needed to be cleaned up, so we were chased out. Instead, tea would be served in the parlor. It seemed that they would be preparing the black tea that Auntie Rosa had bought for Aunt Natsuhi. Okay, so like it's tea, lunch, tea, something, more tea, dinner, more tea. Okay. Maria insisted that she also wanted to drink the black tea, but was rejected by the old bastard who told her and the rest of us kids to go play outside.
バトラ君、みんなで表に散歩に行かないかい？
バラでも見に行ったらええ。でも天気には十分注意するんやで。空はまだ明るいが、天気予報はふるふると繰り返しちょる。
マリアは海がいい、海がいい。
あら素敵じゃない？砂浜で遊ぶなんて普段はなかなかできないものね。
そっか。よし、じゃあみんなで浜辺でも行こうぜ。
行こう。
マリア、服を濡らさないようにするのよ。靴もよ。
濡らさない。
素直で可愛い。バトラ君、マリアちゃんの面倒ちゃんと見てあげてね。
おうよ、任せろ。
ほう。お前もキリエに頼まれると素直で可愛いじゃねえか。たまには俺の言うことも素直に聞いてみろよ。
へっ、まっぴらごめんだぜ。行こうぜ、みんな。ほら。
The children flew out of the parlor. They were replaced by Genji, who pushed the serving cart in and prepared the black tea. The parlor was filled with a sublime aroma which entertained everyone while they waited to appease their thirst.
ルドルフのところは家族仲がいいじゃないか。良いことだ。
よせよ。兄貴のところには負けるぜ。
そうよ。ジェシカちゃん、本当に可愛らしく育ったじゃない。これも夏日姉さんの教育の賜物ね。
I can't tell if she actually means any of this.
どうも。
Natsuhi answered coldly. With that, the conversation halted and the parlor became silent. Possibly because he couldn't stand it anymore, Hideyoshi broke the silence while performing an exaggerated gesture.
しかし、成長は早いもんやで。いつまでも子供だと思っとったが、図体はみるみるでかくなり、いつの間にか大人の仲間入りや。
Yes, she says everything like that.
バトラ君なんか見違えたで。
体は大きくなりましたけど、まだ子供です。
I'm sorry. I don't know, should it be obvious or should it just, you know, because it's just her general way of speaking. She never says things in any other way. Eva best mean girl, yeah. I guess.
うちの主人も未だに子供ですけれど。子供と大人の境ってどこなのかしらね。私、未だに大人になったって自覚が持てない。
情けないじゃないか。一児の母の言うことではない。
That's a little bit...
そうね。私たちももう子供じゃない。大人同士よ。だから感情的にならず、知的な会話をしたいわね。
Uh-huh. When Eva smiled with sharp sarcasm, everything seemed to get more tense. It felt like the smell of the tea that had been prepared so carefully just flew out the window.
知的な会話なら昔からいつも心がけているじゃないか。お前の嫌味は時に的を外している。昔から変わらない。
昔からいつもですって？あらあら。その言葉をきれいに放送して、何十年か前のこの部屋に届けてあげたいわね。ねえ、ローザ。
Rosa smiled with a vague expression. She has a good ara, she does, right? Whether she agreed or disagreed, she knew that she would earn the displeasure of either her brother or her sister. It was a bit of worldly wisdom she had needed to learn as the youngest sibling.
よせよ姉貴。ガキどもがいない間に本題に入ろうじゃねえか。それこそ知的な話よ。
As Rudolph glanced over the faces of all present, some let out a slight sigh, and some let a small look of resignation cross their face. This was the unavoidable, true agenda.
去年の時点で余命3ヶ月だったんだ。ってことは、すでにマイナス9ヶ月ってことじゃねえか。いつお迎えが慌ててすっ飛んでくるかもわからねえ状態ってことだぜ。
当主様は今でも健在でおられます。
I don't know if Rudolph has ever had like his sprite face the camera directly like this. I feel a little bit uneasy. I don't know.
このような不穏当な話を日も明るいうちからなさろうとするなど、ルドルフさんの正気を疑わざるを得ません。
Just a friendly family gathering, yes, so friendly. Very intellectual, very, yeah.
だがな、夏日さん。こういうしょっぱい話はいざことがあってからじゃ遅いんや。今が元気だからこそ余裕あるうちにしとくもんなんやで。これも財産のエチケットみたいなもんや。
諸君の関心は親父殿のようじゃないか。南條先生、あなたから説明してくださいませんか。彼らもそれをお望みらしい。
Nanjo, standing by the window and staring out at the rose garden, let out a single cough when he realized that he was being called.
南條先生、お父様の具合はどんな感じなんですか？
まずはじめに、私が去年申し上げました余命3ヶ月という言葉が一人歩きをしているようですので、その訂正からいたします。
言われずともわかるわ。余命というのはあくまでも見込みであって約束ではないとおっしゃられるのよね。
I mean, let the man freaking speak. Are you a doctor?
さようです。ですから皆さんからたびたびお尋ねを受けますが、いつ亡くなるのかということは決して断言できないことなのです。人の命は体と心に支えられております。体が弱れば危うくもなりますが、それを補う心の強さがあれば小康状態を維持することもあるのです。
体はともかくお心はまだしっかりしていて意気健康でいらっしゃれるということですね。
キリエ、すまんがしばらく黙っててくれ。
ごめんなさい。
さようです。金蔵さんの体はすっかり病魔に蝕まれております。ましてやあのような強いお酒をたしなまれ続けてはとてもとても。
崖っぷちなのも酒のせい、ながらえてるのも酒のせいか。酒豪の親父らしいね。
それで先生、もちろん見込みで結構なんですけども、お父様来年の今日まではさすがにどうかしら。
当主様に対してあまりに無礼な質問です。
Natsuhi jumped on Eva, unable to hide her astonished expression. In response, Eva returned a defiant look, but Hideyoshi noticed and tried to smooth things over with a forced smile.
ああ、夏日さん、カニーナ。エヴァ、お前も少し言葉を選ばんか。
ごめんなさい。お父様の容体が気になって仕方なかったもので。
そうですか。それは気づきませんでした。
南條先生、聞かせてやってください。父親の寿命を気遣う娘の麗しい家族愛じゃないですか。
I'm sorry, can we take a moment to appreciate that line from Natsuhi? Oh, sorry, I hasn't realized. Oh, okay. That tops Eva's sarcasm by like light years.
そうですか。
Oh, sorry.
それは気づきませんでした。
I had clicked it by mistake. Very good. The beautiful family love of a daughter worried about her father's lifespan. Oh. Kraus laughed sarcastically, and Eva, smiling sweetly, returned an identical chuckle.
来年までお元気かという質問ですが、医者の私としてはとても難しい。この小康状態がまだしばらくは続くようにも思いますし、何らかの発作が来れば、その時にはどうしようもないかもしれません。
It's like he can tell you more or less what kind of path he's on, but he cannot, like, what is he gonna do? Read in tea leaves if the guy's gonna die or not? Like, nobody can predict that.
何しろ六軒島は孤島です。すぐに救急車が飛んでこれるわけではありません。本来ならば本土のしかるべき大病院に入院していただきたいところなのですが、
親父殿は高尚な研究を中断されたくないと仰せだ。去年無理に連れ出そうとしたのがあだになったらしい。外へ出れば病院に閉じ込められてしまうのではないかとひどくお疑いになられていてな。すっかりこのざまなのだよ。
Oh, so something happened the year before. Okay. Nothing is impossible for Dr. Dr. Smith. Noble research. Yeah.
南條先生の診察は受けておられるの？
親父殿は南條先生には心を許しておられる。機嫌が良ければ診察も受けられるようだがね。
容体を見はするが、薬を勧めようとも入院を勧めようとも聞き入れてくれん。本当に見るだけですがな。
お医者嫌いの方もおるもんや。しかし困ったもんだのう。
Nanjo sighed deeply. The purpose of an examination was to determine what medical treatment was appropriate. Receiving an examination and then not following the advice given made the whole thing pointless.
つまりおさらいすると、相変わらず余命は3ヶ月。瀕死のまま、あとどれだけ長らえるか見当もつかねえってことだ。
ルドルフさん、言葉を少し慎まれてはいかがですか？
ああ、すまんね。昔からこういう口の利き方なんだ。勘弁してくれ。
南條先生のご意見は分かりました。クラウス兄さんから見てどうなの？
実を言うと南條先生とは異なる意見でね。とても余命3ヶ月の重病人とは思えないというのが本心だ。怒鳴り声は相変わらず健在で、いつぶん殴られるかとヒヤヒヤしっぱなしだよ。長男にだけ親父の世話を押し付けるのは実にフェアではないね。
来世では俺より後に生まれろよ。さて、話を戻そうぜ。そんなわけで、公正中立なお医者の先生の見解じゃ、いつお隠れになっちまってもおかしくない状態だ。兄貴には悪いが、ここは専門家の意見を採用させてもらうぜ。
I mean, what he's saying is that if something sudden happens, there is no chance for him to survive it out of sheer, I don't know, willpower or something, and there's nobody to come help immediately. So if something like that happens, it's a really high likelihood that he will... But that thing has to happen, and he cannot predict if it will actually happen or not, you know? He's just... emitting a hypothesis with a certain context and conditions. If those are not met, then who knows? You know, it's anybody's guess. But sure.
となりゃ、決して親父の財産を話し合うことは時期尚早ではないってことさ。
Now that is the meat of the matter.
お父様の個人資産はおそらく数百億にも届くでしょうね。でもそれは綺麗な現金で揃ってるわけじゃないわ。お誕生会のケーキみたいに綺麗にナイフが入ってカットできるほど単純じゃないでしょ？
姉貴の例えは面白いな。そうさ。ケーキの上にはイチゴやらチョコの家やらが乗ってて、綺麗に等分するのが難しいことだってあるだろ。
You're right, Bear. I forgot about the macro. Okay. My bad, I take everything back.
それを加味してどういう風にナイフを入れるのか先に相談しておくのは大切なことだと思うぜ。
それを当主様が存命のうちからさも他界なされたかのように声高に議論される皆さんの気が知れません。
あら、必要な話よ。だって遺産相続はその時点で直ちに行われなきゃならないものよ。ましてや栄光ある後宮家の財産は莫大。事前に入念な相談が必要なことはお分かりでしょうが、当家の資産はあなたのご実家とは大違いなんだから。
失礼な。私の実家は関係ありません。
As Natsuhi resentfully responded in a low voice, the already dark atmosphere grew even more hostile.
予算買えば。夏日さん、堪忍な。口が悪いのは許したってな。
We can heal Kinzo by direct injection of mackerel juice into brain. A few cc would do the trick, yes. No need for an ambulance, just if anything happens, ask Kumasawa-san to bring the mackerel stat. And everything will be fine. Hideyoshi tried to smooth things over by glancing at both with a forced smile, but it only resulted in making the hostility between Eva and Natsuhi even more intense.
これ以上はお邪魔なようですな。失礼させていただきましょう。
Nanjo rose from his seat and exited the parlor. This may well have been a normal act of courtesy expected of an outsider, but even so, his back was watched by several glances envious of his ability to escape. I was gonna say, like, it's so cool for him. It's like, I have nothing to do with this. I can just walk away. Bye. After the doctor had exited and his footsteps had disappeared into the distance, Kraus recrossed his legs.
つまり、お前たちの言い分はこうかね。親父殿の余命は短い。遺産分配について早急かつ具体的な協議に入りたい。何を焦っているのかね。確かにお前たちの言う通り、後宮家の財産を算定し分配するのは簡単なことではないだろう。なれば、じっくりと算定すべきじゃないのかね。お前たちは今晩のうちにもケーキを切り分けたいと焦っているように見える。そうだろう、ローザ。何を焦ることがあるのかね。
焦ってるわけじゃない。でも兄弟の間での取り決めは必要。それはいつでもいいことだけれども、お父様の具合が悪くなっていてその日が近づいているというなら、先に話だけしておいてもそれは請求とは言わないと思うし。
Rosa sneaked a glance at Eva and Rudolph. As the youngest daughter in the family, being cross-examined by the eldest was harsh.
ほう、それはお前の本心かね。兄弟で一番素直で綺麗な心を持っていたお前がそんなことを言い出すとは思えんね。そこの二人に吹き込まれたんじゃないのかね。
よせよ兄貴、ローザだって兄弟だぜ。親父の遺産に公平な権利がある。関心を持つのは当然じゃねえか。親父だっていつかは必ず死ぬし、それは遠い未来の話でもない。むしろ兄貴が悠長すぎるくらいさ。まるで遺産分配から話をそらしたくて仕方がないように見えるぜ。
それはどういう意味ですか？主人にやましいところがあるとおっしゃいたいのですか？
まあ、夏日さん。話は聞いておくなあれ。
兄さん、今は大変強気だそうじゃない？そうよね。去年以降、空前の好景気で円は上がる一方。ドルが100円に至るのだって夢物語じゃなさそうよ。それに、与党は来年頃に保養地整備法を成立させようって言うじゃない。今や日本中のリゾート開発会社がどれだけ軍資金を集められるかって奔走してるところよ。
詳しいじゃないか。これから日本には空前の好景気が訪れる。親父殿が後宮家を再興した時と同じくらいの大規模な需要拡大の時代がね。日本国民は死に物狂いで働き、高度経済成長を実現して世界で一番豊かな国民となり、我が世の春を謳歌するようになった。国民の消費は増大し、それを回収できる施設があぶく銭を手にする時代になったのだよ。今や国民のニーズは3種の電化製品ではない。スキー場、ゴルフ場、総合プール、リゾートホテルにテーマパーク。数年前に開業したデルゼニーランドには行ったかね。
デルスニーランド ?OK
素晴らしい遊園地じゃないか。あそこでは大人も童心に帰り家族で楽しむことができるんだ。かつて家族を顧みずに滅私奉公することだけが美徳だった時代はもはや終わろうとしている。
Yes, exactly that, exactly that.
我々は世界で一番豊かな国民としてようやくそれを享受できるようになったのだよ。
クラウス兄さんの読みは大したもんや。わしも数年前に聞いた時はそんなアホなと思ったわ。でもな、G5 のプラザ合意聞いてから変わったんや。円はみるみる強くなり、地価はこれから天井知らずに上がるやろ。日本が世界経済の中心になる日も遠くはない。兄さんは時代を見る目のあるお人や。それだけは間違いないで。
秀吉兄さんに同じだ。兄貴は10年越しで時代を読めてるよ。その嗅覚は親父譲りだろうな。大したもんだぜ。だが親父と違ってちょいと見通しのタイミングを読み違っちまったところはあるよな。
兄さんは必ず日本が好景気を迎えると信じてあちこちにリゾート計画を起こし、そのほとんどで失敗し続けたわ。兄さんの読み通りの時代は確かに訪れつつあるけど、その時期を読むことには失敗したわね。早すぎたのよ。そして焦って清算して、結局は傷口を広げたわ。本当に嗅覚が当てになって好景気が訪れることを読めていたなら清算するわけない。これって、兄さんが自分で自分の才能を信じてない証拠じゃないの？
失礼な。主人を侮辱するつもりですか？
Oof. Natsuki's forehead creased as she rose from the sofa. Eva paying this no heed, stared at Kraus with a confident smile. Kraus, who also maintained his confident appearance, told Natsuhi to sit down.
よさないか、Natsuhi。昔からこういう言い方しかできないやつだ。少し落ち着きなさい。また頭痛に触る。
兄さんに才能がない証拠は私たちのすぐ近くにもあるわよ。だって兄さん、この島をリゾート化するって張り切ってたじゃない？素敵なリゾートホテルも建てて、庭園もきれいに整備して、私は素人だから分かりかねるけど、相当のお金を使ったんでしょう。
だから何だというのですか？主人の事業はあなたとは関係ありません。
いいや、そいつは違うぜ、夏日さん。六軒島は兄貴のものじゃない。親父のものだ。もちろん建てたホテルは兄貴のものだぜ。なんなら、俺たちは今夜の宿泊料を払ってやってもいいさ。な、ローザ。
それは、まあ、持ち合わせで足りるなら。
リゾート化できればこの島の資産価値は上がる。支出がかさんだことは事実だが、未来に大きな収穫を期待できる。
Natsuki Fang, yes, she is...
そうなれば、結果的にお前たちにとっても有益なはずじゃないか。
それはわかるわよ。 この島の価値が上がればそれを遺産分配する時の私たちの取り分も増えるもの。もちろん、島や屋敷を4分の1ずつ切り取れとは言わないわ。それを算定したお金で解決してくれればいいだけの話よ。
そこまで分かっているなら、私の事業に何の不満があるんだね。
不満じゃねえさ。不安なのさ。第一兄貴。あのホテル、いつになったら開業するんだ？このままじゃ、俺たちの手垢だらけになっちまうぜ。
そうよ。大切な商売道具でしょ。確かに開業するまでずっと鍵をかけておくわけにもいかないわよね。少しは使って風通しを良くしないと建物は傷んじゃうもの。でも、私たちが年に一度泊まるだけのゲストハウスって言うんじゃ、ちょっと豪勢すぎやしないかしら。
Yeah, you're right, Beth. I'm not sure which of these I would prefer, to be honest. They're kind of giving each other a run for the money.
ねえ、ローザ。
そうね。あんなに素敵なら、オープンしたらさぞや人気が出るでしょうね。
ああ、あなたが前に言ってたホテルって、ゲストハウスのことだったのね。
立派なもんだろう。ローザの言う通り、オープンできたら人気が出るだろうよ。
The lodging they had been guided to had not been constructed with the intent of being a guest house. It was originally constructed as a resort hotel. However, even though it had been completed 2 years ago, there was absolutely no schedule for it to be opened.
兄さんのいつもの事業と同じよ。着目や企画はご立派。そしていつも途中で立ち行かなくなって何も回収できずに終わる。
この島をただ住むだけにしか使わないのはもったいないって兄貴の着眼は立派さ。そしてリゾート化してマリンスポーツやらフィッシングやらハネムーンやらを誘致して盛り上げようってのはなかなかいい絵だったと思うぜ。俺だって長男だったならこの島を何かに有効利用できないかと頭をひねったに違いないさ。
でももう出来上がってから2年も経つのよ。2年経って未だに開業のめどはつかないの？任せてる管理会社はどこ？
失敬な。それは主人の手落ちではありません。主人の仕事を請け負う会社間でトラブルが生じているだけで、うちはあくまでも被害者です。
しかしな、クラウス兄さんが任せてる例のとこ、あまり噂は聞かんで。
はっきり言ってあげなさいよ。不払い横領トラブルで計画が空中分解しちゃったって話。私たちの耳に届かないとでも思ってる？裏も取れてるんだから。
Okay.
何の裏だか存じませんが、事実無根です。
Well, here's the answer to my question. Yeah, I was thinking that from the beginning. It's like, aha, that's what it is. I'm taking note of potential motives. I'm just letting things unfold. I'm not gonna do homework about this novel. Okay, I'm sorry if that is your expectation. I don't want to disappoint you. I'm setting it low from the beginning. We'll see just how far my memory takes me.
観光業への新規参入には方々への根回しが必要になります。相手が信用に足りるかを測ることも大事です。それに手間取っているだけに過ぎません。
ホテルの完成が早すぎて勇み足になったことは認めよう。だが維持費がかかってるわけじゃない。やがて大きな意味を持つ布石だ。
嘘つけよ。生産したくても売れないだけだろ。観光ルートの確立してない何もない離島にやたら豪華なホテルなんて買い手がつくわけもねえさ。それに事業に集めた融資はどうなってんだよ。
維持費はかからんでも回線借金は膨らむ一方や。すまんがクラウス兄さん、この島の開発計画の話 ちょいと調べさせてもろたんや。正直こっちもええ話は聞かへんのや。
秀吉さん、確かに今の財政状況だけを見たらそういう印象を持たれるかもしれない。だがこれは先行投資なのだよ。その読みを誤り、これまでに多くの負債を生んでしまったことは認めざるを得ない。だがようやく時代が私に追いついた。これまでに失った分はすぐに取り戻せる。いや、それどころか、これまでの投資だってやがては私のもとに戻ってくる。
Is that so?
そう例えるなら、放った稚魚が鮭となり、肥えて帰ってくるようにね。
それは認めるで。これからリゾート業界は空前の好景気を迎えるやろ。これまでの負債を埋められるほどかはわからんが。だがな、クラウス兄さん。これまで散々負け続けた兄さんが、どこから軍資金を調達したって言うんや。それも半端ない軍資金や。あれだけの穴を埋められる軍資金やで。
秀吉さんは何をおっしゃいたいのですか？
ああ、夏樹さん。ほんま怒らんといてえな。わしらも調べたんや。これまで負け戦続きのクラウス兄さんに、最近の強気な莫大投資を支えられるほどの融資を誰ができたんか調べたんや。
結果、いねえんだよ。そんな後ろ盾は。弱り目と逆に張るのがマネールーレットの鉄則だ。兄貴はこの界隈じゃ、ちょいと知られた弱り目さ。確かに時代は好景気を迎えようとしているが、これまでの兄貴の失敗等を天秤にかけて、その上で融資に値すると思う連中がいるのかって言ったら誰もいなかったのさ。
ならねえ、そのお金をどこから調達したのってことになるのよ。
ほう、興味深い話じゃないか。それで？
あなた、このような暴言をいつまで放置されるつもりですか？
座れよ、夏日さん。単刀直入に言おう。兄貴は親父の個人資産を自分の事業に流用してる。これはほぼ間違いねえ。これが俺たちの誤解だってんなら、どうかぜひそれを解いてもらいたいもんさ。
ルドルフ、流用なんてもんじゃないわよ。これは横領よ。刑事告発できる立派な犯罪なんだから。
無礼極まりない。仮にも後宮本家跡継ぎの後宮クラウスに向かって信じられない暴言です。
暴言じゃないわよ。図星でしょ。なんとか事業を成功させて、これまでの損失を埋めたいんだけど、その穴は広がっていく一方、博打の穴をさらに大きく張った博打で埋めたいだけよ。その軍資金がすぐ近くにあったなら、手をつけるのは道理。はっきり言うわ。兄さんがしているのは横領よ。お父様に対する裏切りよ。叱るべき決着がついた後には、司法に委ねることになるでしょうね。そんな輩に後宮本家跡継ぎを名乗らせるとお思い？
言うにこと書いて、当主様への裏切りとは聞き捨てがたい。この栄光ある後宮家の敷居をまたぐ資格は、もはやあなたにはありません。即刻、ここを出て行きなさい。さあ、ほら!
Oof. Natsuhi, who had already reached the limits of her anger, shouted at Eva in a rage. She then pointed alternately at Eva and the hallway, indicating that she should leave. Eva took out the folding fan and fanned herself with it, glaring maliciously at Natsuhi as though silently daring her to repeat what she'd said. However, her mouth was still smiling, curved in the shape of a crescent moon. In that unpleasant silence, Rosa gulped.
ねえ、夏日姉さん。 誰に向かってそんな口をお聞きなの？
無礼極まりない主人の妹に対してです。これ以上は私も本家の台所を預かる者として聞き捨てなりません。
台所を預かる？
No man, the voice second.
黙るがいい！この名ばかり女房が！
Oh my god. Oh wow. The true colors coming out. There it is. Eva's voice actor is amazing. Yeah, she's wow. Oh wow. Eva folded the fan with the snap and rose powerfully. Compared to the elegance and playful behavior she had shown just until just now, she was unimaginably aggressive.
バカバカしい！お前が下がりなさい！この後ろ宮エヴァに当主様の左肩を許されている後ろ宮家序列第3位のこのエヴァに下がれと？身の程を知りなさい！そしてお前のそのみすぼらしい姿を鏡に映してみるがいい！お前の服のどこに翼が？どこに片翼のわしが許されているのか？貴様など後ろ宮家の跡継ぎを残すためだけの存在じゃないの。身の程をわきまえるがいい、このゲス女が！
Ay ay ay. While Eva's face grimaced unattractively, her words pierced Natsuhi's heart like claws and painfully twisted in. Ay 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 ay. There were 100 ways Natsuhi wanted to respond. I'm kinda on top of her face, but like, oh my god. However, her anger and sorrow crushed her throat, and not one of them managed to make it to her mouth. The anger, which had lost any place to go, became a single hot tear which slowly dripped down.
Nani?
Oh my lord.
何か言い返したいなら、どうぞ言い返しなさいよ。ほーら。
Eva faced her with a provocative gaze. However, Natsuhi's fist was shaking. She trembled all over, unable to do anything. Kraus quietly broke that powder keg tension.
夏日、席を外しなさい。頭を冷やすといい。
Natsuhi, resenting the fact that her husband had not come to her aid, shifted the focus of her attack.
あなたはさっきから何を言われているのか分かってるんですか？
At least her husband would come to her help, right? Clueless, oh lord.
この人たちは言うにこと書いてあなたのことをお父様への裏切り者呼ばわりしているんです。私たちが後宮家の栄光を守り、お父様からそれを受け継ぐため日々高潔であろうとする全ての努力をないがしろにして踏みにじる。なんという聞きがたい暴言。あなたもあなたです。どうして言い返さないんですか？あなたが言い返さないから私が言い返しているのに、さっきからあなたは私に任せっきりで、その私に頭を冷やして来いなんて言うんですか？いつも私ばかり。私はいつも真剣にこの家のことを考えているのに、それをあなたは
Natsuhi could no longer hide her tears. She flew from the room in that state. After that, all that remained was a somewhat embarrassed mood about the parlor. When the sound of footsteps grew distant and silence returned, Kraus shrugged his shoulders slightly.
妻が失礼した。昔から感情を抑えるのが下手でね。私も苦労している。
あんなのに切り盛りされてたんじゃ、兄さんも気苦労が絶えないわね。
様。
何でもありません。下がりなさい。
Natsuhi flew into her room and bent over the bed, wailing. Those heart-wrenching sobs reached Kumasawa in the hallway.
おいたわしや奥様。奥様とエヴァ様は犬猿の仲。このお二人の関係を説明するのは、女の私にはとてもしんどくございます。
Kumasawa and her info dumps. Yeah.
後ろ目焼きは血を特に重んじられますが、嫁いで家を出れば、本来は序列から除籍されます。ですから、エヴァ様も本来は秀吉様とのご成婚の際に除籍されるはずだったのです。ところが、これは誰のせいでもありません。ましてや、奥様のせいであろうはずもありません。神様の気まぐれとしか言いようがありません。クラウス様と夏日様にはなかなか子宝が授からなかったのです。
Kumasawa, the info dumps, man. Thanks, Kumasawa. Yeah, getting that inside scoop. Let's go.
何しろ男尊女卑の後ろ宮家でございます。妻は跡継ぎを残すための道具。その妻が唯一の役割を果たせないのなら、もはや人間扱いなどされません。
Oh man, this is so exhausting to me just to read it. I would rather be poor and free and happy than all of this. What is this all for? At the end of the day, it's for nothing.
当時の奥様が親方様からどれほど責め苛まれていたか思い出すのも苦しゅうございます。そんな中、エヴァ様に秀吉様とのご結婚の話が持ち上がりました。
It's to prop up the societal status quo. Yeah, I see, but God, no. Maybe my family isn't so bad. I know, right? Like, all families have their struggles. Nobody is perfect, and you know, siblings will always have their own little things and bickering and so on. But this just makes everything else seem like just a tiny thing that it can be figured out. You know, this is just blowing my mind. I'm not bored. No. I'm not bored. I'm just blown away by. I mean, of course, you could already predict it, that, you know, being such high status and stuff, that like this kind of dynamics would be there. But I don't know, now that they're just completely out in the open and no one is just like being their pleasant political, let's save face kind of like their versions like that, like they're in that mode, you know, presenting themselves in that way, when like everything is just, the masks are off and the claws are coming out. It's just quite overwhelming to take it all in. Like, oh my god. This is sort of radical variant of traditional worldview. I don't know if it's necessarily the traditional part here. I guess it is traditional in the sense of how wealth and high status are passed on, but it doesn't necessarily apply to traditional family values in absolute general. It's just for the high status people. Woman's job is to give birth. I don't know if it gets any more traditional. That part is what you mean. Yeah, but that's not it. I'm noticing the consequences of struggling with that being a little bit just blown out of the water here.
エヴァ様は狡猾でした。奥様がいつまでも身ごもられないことにつけ入って親方様に取り入ったのです。入り婿を取って自分が跡継ぎを産むと吹き込み、ご自分の席を 後ろ宮家にとどまらせるよう認めさせたのでございます。後ろ宮家に嫁ぎ、外様扱いの奥様と、入り婿を取る形で血族として残ったエヴァ様は、後ろ宮家の序列の中では雲泥の差。しかもエヴァ様は先にそれも男児をご出産されております。どれほど奥様の立場がエヴァ様の前で弱いものであったか、お察しいただけますでしょうか。
Being rich is a strawberry in this shit game. Asian culture being more about status and someone's place in the societal hierarchy, which exacerbates, maybe that's what you meant, everything even more. I understand, yeah. For a moment I wasn't thinking that they're Asian. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of all of the Western names. That kind of took me out of the context of Japanese society. You're right, they have a much stronger emphasis on that than other countries. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I understand what you meant. Yeah, it's just... It's just layers upon layers upon layers of not good things for Natsuhi here. I feel for her. At this moment in time, I feel for her.
奥様にとっては、もし自分がすぐに解任することができれば、エヴァ様の入り婿など、親方様に認めさせずに済み、今日のエヴァ様の増長を許さずに済んだだろうという、悔しい気持ちがあるに違いありません。
No, it's okay. I totally feel you. I hate typing on my phone too. I make typos a lot on my phone, not because I don't know how things are spelled, but because yeah, I struggle with it, and I kind of try to rely on the autocomplete, not autocomplete, but the suggestion thing, and sometimes it fails me and I don't realize it or whatever. Yeah, I totally feel it. And also my biggest gripe is the keys that are very close to the backspace, and somehow I managed to hit the backspace instead of hitting the key, and it removes the letter or the space before that, and my words get weird and I don't realize it, and I send it, I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, totally feel you, totally feel you. There's currently a reversal of women's rights in South Korea. I heard current president came to power platforming in black pill fueled bullshit about women oppressing men. Isn't controller more comfortable for this? You mean for the novel? I am using the controller. I just mean in general, I hate typing on my phone. So I feel you if that's what your struggle is. I'm totally there. Not for playing the visual novel, just for typing generally. What did I mean? I meant to say something in between all of these lines. I'm trying to catch on to what line was it that triggered the thought. Autocorrect and touchscreen are my bane, yes. We're on the same team there, yes. Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to say that, like... yeah, there's so many layers upon layers upon layers of bad consequences or negative effects on just the general well-being and day-to-day life of these people that are coming from things that are not even within their control. So, like, her not getting pregnant is not something that she could control, right? I'm sure they tried, and just it wasn't happening, okay? It's not like she was doing something on purpose to prevent it, it just wasn't happening. Also, the sex of a child being such a definite high value thing in terms of someone's life and position and all of that. Who can control that? Like, suddenly the one who delivers a boy is just like, oh, you're so amazing. No, they're not. It just happened to be that. As a human, they're no in any way superior, but I understand the value, I guess, of a male heir, and it's just so it just compounds with everything else, and it's just blowing my mind. No, I'm just in moments like this, I'm very, very grateful for my very humble origins and upbringing, and I don't have to deal with this. I'm also an only child, so I will never have to deal with this kind of sibling tension. Although at the same time, it also means I will never know the joys of sharing love and a beautiful relationship with your siblings. But my God, in moments like this, when I'm reading this, I'm just saying, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Let's move on. I mean, this is also a story of 40, 50 years ago. Yeah, but a lot of it still echoes in today's society, I believe. If only she had gotten pregnant earlier. I mean, is she gonna control it?
しかし、それは奥様のせいであろうはずもない。すべては気まぐれな神様とジェシカさんをお届けすることが遅れたコウノトリのせいなのでございます。
Who could control the sex of a child? Okabe can with pager messages. Yeah, eating salad or meat or something like that, along those lines, right? That's what it was. Eat more meat and it will be a boy. No, eat more salad and it will be a girl. Is that what it was? I forget. Siblings are great. Fights are a bit more pleasant when there are billions discussed. Yeah, that's also yet another layer that creates even more trouble. Money is always trouble. Always, always. No matter how much or how little of it there is, it's always trouble. Ugh.
だからといって奥様にはそうと割り切れるはずもない。ただただ妻としての責務を全うできなかったことに女として悔し涙をこぼすしかできないでしょう。はあ、おいたわしや。私には何もできず、こうして物陰から見守ることしかできないのです。
You don't like Ruka's arc? I don't know, I found it endearing. There was some alternate ending there, I forget the exact details that I personally liked. Or I liked parts of it quite a bit. We crossed the hall again on our way to the entrance. As we did, we once again saw that witch's portrait. However, the word saw is probably not the best word to describe that experience. It was more like our eyes were drawn to it. That woman's eyes, with her sage-like glamour, definitely had the power to make those who looked at her stand rooted to the spot.
魔女ベアトリーチェか。
Oh yeah, I think I remember a bit more about it. It's like Rukako learns what is happening and makes this like it takes very I don't know, very lucid, well thought out, makes some really good decisions there. I'm forgetting the absolute details of it, but I remember liking that part a lot. Like a much grounded person than Okabe himself in those moments. I liked it.
Honto ka ne?
パトラ信じてない?
Back when he had asked what this picture was, the first person to tell him it was Beatrice had been Maria. Therefore, when Butler showed signs of doubt, Maria must have felt that Butler didn't have faith in her. More grounded than Okabe is not saying much too. It's true. It's true. The standard is very low there. I have to remember, it might be from the collection of stories that we did afterwards. I have to remember exactly which one it was. I'll look for it. I remember really liking it. Of course, that's not what Battler meant. Maria ran up to the portrait and began banging on a plate below it. Maybe the title of the portrait was written there. Maria, trying to prove that she wasn't lying, obstinately continued to hit the plate.
ああ、悪い悪い。別にマリアが言ったのを疑ったわけじゃないぜ。
バトラ納得。
When he patted Maria's head and apologized, she seemed to accept it, sticking out her chest and proudly oohing.
なになに？我が最愛の魔女ベアトリーチェ。懐かしき故郷を貫くって、なんだこの怪しげな長い碑文はよ。
The Sweetfish River. The plate did have the title of the portrait written on it, but it was much too big to contain only that. Beneath the title, what looked like a long epitaph was also written. As I skimmed over it, I was taken aback by the array of unnerving words that jumped out at me.
すげえだろそれ。じいさまが書かせたものだよ。意味深だろ？
マリア知ってる。黄金の隠し場所。
おいおい、後ろ宮家の隠し黄金の話か？そりゃまた懐かしい話だね。っていうか兄貴、これマジなのか？
これを書かせたおじいさまは、この絵とこの碑文に関しては何も語ってくれないんだ。でも、親類たちの間では、おじいさまの黄金の隠し場所を記したもので、この謎を解いた者に家督と黄金のすべてを譲るという意味ではないかと、もっぱら囁かれてるよ。
マリア聞いた。黄金いっぱいいっぱい。
Alright.
さてな。10トンの金塊なんてね。私はちょいと眉唾だけどな。
しかしよ、こんな碑文を読んじまうと、マジかなって気になっちまうな。
I think I already explained grandfather's upbringing, but let me also mention the Ushiromiya family's legend of the gold. Grandfather succeeded the Ushiromiya family after it had been almost totally destroyed in the Great Kanto earthquake, and by successfully riding the stormy seas after the war, managed to accumulate great wealth. That much of the story everyone knows. However, this is where the strange part of the story begins. Part of it is closely tied to grandfather's black magic hobby, so its credibility is extremely low, but, well, wait until the end before you doubt or make fun of it. After the war, grandfather successfully predicted what the future would hold. His big gamble paid off, and he accumulated a vast store of wealth. But there is a mysterious legend about how he gained the funds in the first place. Grandfather came from a branch family and had no connections in the business world or the financial world. Even though he later built connections with the occupying forces, in the beginning he was supposedly a nameless person who had not yet gained anyone's trust. Money can only be gathered based on trust. There's no way anyone would lend money to an untrustworthy person. How did grandfather, whose trustworthiness was zero, manage to obtain the large amount of funds in the first place? Wait until the end of Umineko before you make fun of it. Okay. It is said that when asked that question, grandfather answered like this. One fateful day, I encountered the golden witch Beatrice. He then went on and on about how he continued to research alchemy and techniques for summoning demons in order to become a great mage. And the entity summoned as the result of the demon calling ritual was the Golden Witch, Beatrice. He then said that he made a contract where, in exchange for his own soul, he would receive fortune and honor. The witch then granted grandfather 10 tons of gold. 10 tons! Oh! Okay. 10 tons. Right. Grandfather used this gold as collateral to prepare a vast quantity of funds, and then used that to multiply his wealth by several times and revive the Ushiromiya family. It seems that this story is so old that our parents had already been told it when they were still children. So our parents, when they were little, explored this island in various ways, believing that the gold that grandfather had received from the witch might be hidden somewhere. However, since there was the danger of them getting lost in the abandoned forest, grandmother or someone began to spread the story that the witch lived in the forest and approaching it was too dangerous.
そんな話があったな。俺たちも小さい頃、親からその話を聞かされて、宝探しと称して島中はあちこちうろうろして、森で迷ってワンワン泣いて、使用人さんに見つけてもらって、親にめちゃくちゃ怒られたんじゃなかったっけ？懐かしいぜ。
バカだったよな。だってよ、じいさまはその資本金で儲けた挙句でこの島を買うんだぜ。この島に来る前から黄金を持ってたってことになるじゃねえか。この島にあるわけがないぜ。
そうとも限らないよ。その黄金が元からこの島に隠されていて、それを確実に自分のものにするためにこの島を丸々買い取ったとかね。何しろ10トンもあるんだもん。安全な場所に移すより隠し場所そのものを確保する方が現実的だよ。
この碑文を書かせたのは2年前。それもじいさま自身ってなると、なるほど。黄金伝説も信憑性が増してくるじゃねえか。じいさまが後宮家復興の資本金にしたという魔女に授けられた黄金が10トン。そいつがどこかに今も眠っていて、じいさまはこの謎を解けたやつに全部を譲ろうって。ふぅ。じいさまらしいセンスというか。マジならなんとも景気のいい話だぜ。
The epitaph carved into the plate was very mysterious, something like a poem or a song. Its sentences were incredibly disturbing, filled with the signs of grandfather's black magic hobby, and truly in bad taste, but it could definitely be viewed as a puzzle which, if solved, could lead to the place where the gold was hidden.
そういうつもりなのかどうか、おじいさまの胸中は想像もつかないけどね。一つ言えるのは、このうさんくさい碑文を、おじいさまは一族全員に告示するかのようにここに掲示したこと。そして、黄金の存在はほのめかしながらも、未だにその隠し場所について一切触れないこと。そこから、親たちが想像を膨らませて、おじいさまの知恵比べに違いないって言い出した。
欲の皮が突っ張ってる、うちの親父あたりだろうぜ。こんな世まい事を真に受けてるなんてよ。じいさまの黒魔術趣味はバカにしてるくせに、この隠し黄金の話だけは信じてやがる。調子のいい話さ。
確かに、現実的な話じゃないよね。当時、無名で何のコネクションもなかったおじいさまに、無償で莫大な金塊を融資する人物なんているわけがない。それがいたからこそ、おじいさまはそのスポンサーを魔女と呼んだというなら考えられない話じゃないけど。
でもよ、10トンだぜ10トン。一体現金に直したらいくらくらいになるんだ？っていうか、とんでもない量になるはずだぜ。
とんでもない量だよ。人類が有史以来発掘した黄金はせいぜい10万トンって言われてる。
10 tons of gold is slightly more than $500 million in today's money. Oh, for some reason I was expecting it to be even more. Slightly more than $500 million. Okay. Okay.
人類の歴史が手にした黄金の1万分の1を個人が手にしてるっていうのはとてつもないことだよ。それが一箇所にあり、しかもそれをおじいさまにポンと貸し出せるような魔女。ただものじゃないね。
私はよ、その10トンって数字ももはや嘘くさいと思ってるぜ。第一よ、じいさま以外に見たやつはいないんだろ？仮に気前のいい魔女が実在して黄金を貸したとしても、それは10は10でも10キロぐらいの間違いじゃねえのか？
Thanks for the precise number. Oh,
10キロでも相当いい金額になるはずだぜ。
10キロの黄金っていくら？
Maria, who couldn't keep up and felt like she was being spoken to in riddles, finally found a place where she could ask us a question. A question which I also wanted to ask right then. Whether I hear 10 kilos or 10 tons, I know that it's an incredible amount, but I couldn't put a number on exactly how incredible. George Aniki folded his arms and tried to remember the market price of gold.
さあ、金も相場の影響を受けるから何とも言えないし、純度や鋳造先の信用によっても変わってくる。換金に手数料もかかるし。ただ、希少金属であることは間違いなくて、このまま採掘が進めば、人類はあと半世紀ほどで全てを掘り尽くしてしまうんじゃないかって憶測もある。でたらめに言って、1キロあたり200万円程度の価値はあるんじゃないかと思うね。
Your recognition honors me.
Hey, Ali, how are you? Thank you so much for the resub. It's sweet of you. I saw that you started your stream earlier. Hope you had a nice time. Thanks for dropping by. 2 million. Sorry.
私よ、10キロってのは今適当に言って控えめな数字なんだけどよ。それでも2000万円の価値があるってことになるじゃねえかよ。
マリア、体重28キロ。
ということは、マリアちゃんと同じ重さの黄金なら、その価値は5000万円を超えるって計算になるね。
そりゃたまげるな。10トンならいくらだ？ 10 キロで2000万が1000倍だから、はあ、200億円か？こりゃたまらねえや。
How much is 20 billion yen actually worth? We would have to measure it by putting it in terms we could understand. I mean, they say that wages over a lifetime are 200 million yen. You grow up and work like crazy, sacrificing your life for your company, and as you approach old age, are finally freed, yes. And all that together, including the retirement money, comes out at 200 million yen. Oh, I'm all good. A little bit sleepy, but that's just my usual. I need to make sure I rest a bit better on stream days or something, so I'm not yelling, but yawning all the time. Yeah, today it kind of compounded with a few things that weren't that happy at work. It kind of tired me out mentally, so here I am. But other than that, I'm really good. I'm enjoying the novel. We started it last week, and just having a really cool conversation with all the lovely people around here. So I'm as good as it can be. 20 billion yen is only that amount today in dollars. Okay. Thank you for doing the conversion, Bea. To give us like a sense of something more palpable for us than just yen. In other words, that is the cash equivalent of a human's life. No, you could even call it the price of a life. We were talking about a sum so enormous that it would require 100 of those lives. Assuming you work for 40 years from age 20 to age 60, then it's equal to 4,000 years of work wages. It's a sum of money you could finally accumulate after working every day starting from the Jomon period.
200億円ってすごい？
ああ、すげえよ。マリアの大好きなショートケーキだったら、多分一生かかっても食い切れないくらい買えるぜ。
でも、200億円という現金ならいざ知れず、それと同等の金塊が一ところにあるなんて、とても現実的とは思えないね。さっきも言った通り、黄金は非常に重くて、財産をまとめておくにはちょっと便利とは思えないよ。ものすごい額面の有価証券とか、ものすごく価値のある宝石とか、そういうものなら考えられなくもないけれど、戦時中の混乱期に自分の資産を持ち運べるよう、全て宝石などに変えた人たちがいたのは有名な話だからね。でも、黄金で資産を備蓄したというのはなかなか聞かない。
確かに重いけどよ、国際的に一番信用されてて、価値も安定してるし、意味はあるんじゃないのかな。証券とかだったら、国が滅びちまったら紙切れになっちまうわけだし。
そういう考え方もあるね。 でも、10kg のインゴット一つでも、体感重量は相当のものだよ。聞いたことない？ 50kg の人間は背負えても、50kg の俵は担げないって。それだけの莫大な重量の金塊を、個人が所有するリスクと手間は計り知れないね。
My head is spinning.
ってことはつまり、200億円の札束がうなってるって話ならともかく、200億円分の黄金が山積みになってるってのは、ちょいと現実味がないわけだな。
そういうことになるね。黄金伝説なんて響きはとても面白いんだけど、そもそも10トンの黄金という時点で少々無理があるね。
そうやってリズムで考えると、みるみる嘘くさくなっていくぜ。夢のない話さ。
でも、そこは何しろあのおじいさまだからね。親切なお金持ちからの融資を大げさに吹聴して、魔女から授かった10トンの黄金なんて、10トンという数字も象徴的な感じがするしね。
つまり、借りた金のありがたさは10トンの黄金に匹敵する価値があった。
じいさまに大金持ちの勇敢マダムが気前よく恵んでくれて、その後夫人を魔女と呼んだ。
Jessica's example isn't bad. If someone was generous enough to lend a huge sum of money to grandfather when his trustworthiness was still 0, she would certainly be someone worthy of being called a witch. Furthermore, grandfather later used that money to build a vast amount of wealth. With such an incredible ability to judge people, again, she might well be fittingly called a witch. Also, since she went to the trouble of lending all that money, she might also have enthusiastically guided how it was spent. Come to think of it, the idea to get involved with the occupying forces and profit from the Korean War demands might have come from the witch as well. But all that considered, saying that he received wealth and honor from a witch might actually be a fair description.
なるほどな。
Wanna be a witch? Lend out money. Oh god. Aww. Oh, thank you, Auli. I try. I do my best. It's very simple, but I hope it does its job.
ってことはつまり、この魔女様は後宮家復興のための資金を恵んでくださった復興の大恩人ってわけだ。となりゃ、じい様が感謝の気持ちを込めてこんだけでかい絵を描かせて掲げさせたってのも、なるほど、おかしい話じゃないのかもな。
ひょっとするとよ、当の本人は見るからに魔女っぽいばあさんだったかもしれないぜ。それをじい様が美化してこんな美人に描いてくれたってのは考えられる話さ。案外当の本人に会ってみたらこんなに美人じゃないかもしれねえな。
ありえるね。
What are you talking about? Bear is the most beautiful thing that ever happened to this world.
ベアトリーチェって名前はいかにも洋風だけど、僕たち一族の名前がみんな洋風であることを考えると、このベアトリーチェって名前も日本人名を無理やり洋風にアレンジしたものなのかもしれないよ。
なるほどなるほど。この美人は絵の中にしかいないってわけだな。それじゃあ、立派そうな胸は揉めそうにないぜ。
Why? Like it doesn't fit at all. Just contain yourself, man. Oh god, why?
鼻っから魔女なんておかしいんだよな。そんなのが地球上のどこにいるってんだ。
As I laughed and made fun of the witch in an attempt to differentiate myself from the kid I was 6 years ago who was afraid of the witch of the forest, Maria tugged on my sleeve. Battler, please, yes. The strength with which she did so displayed a little annoyance.
なんだよ、マリア。
ベアトリーチェはいる。
Maria stared up at me. She had her usual sour look, but I could tell she was angry because of the color of her eyes.
魔女いる。
なんだよ、そりゃいるだろうよ。テレビをつけりゃアニメとかによ。
I started to feel pressured, not knowing why Maria was jumping on me like this. Then Jessica tapped me on the shoulder and told me in a small voice.
バカだな。子供の夢打ち砕いてんじゃねえぜ。マリアは魔女とかベアトリーチェとかが確かに存在するって信じてんだよ。
確か、マリアちゃんは学校の文集に、将来なりたいものは魔女って書いたんだっけ？
Maria nodded seriously. Tears started to run from the corners of her eyes. I see. To a girl who wants to become a witch in the future, this Beatrice is proof that witches do exist in the world, and it is also someone who she admires and strives to be like. Oh god, the controller vibrated very violently. Okay, Maria.
うん、いるよ、魔女は。お兄ちゃんは信じるよ。
George and Nikki kneeled down and held Maria's head. Watching this, Jessica poked me in the side. So that's what it is. It's basically like I just dropped the bomb that Santa Claus doesn't exist in front of a child who believes in him on Christmas Eve. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to shatter kids' dreams.
悪かったぜ。別にマリアの夢にケチをつけたわけじゃねえんだ。ベアトリーチェはいるよな。今もこの島の森の中に住んでいて、夜な夜なこの屋敷で何をやってるのか覗き見しに来るんだろ。だから森には入っちゃいけない。
That's so creepy.
夜はいつまでも暗い森を眺めていてはいけない。森の魔女ベアトリーチェに見つかってしまうかもしれないから、バサマがそう言ってたんだもんな。
本当にバトラーは信じる？
おお、信じるぜ。ケチをつけて悪かったよ。ほら、仲直りしようぜ。
I stuck out my hand and Maria grabbed it with her tiny hand, and we made up. Maria didn't grumble any more than that, and so George, Aniki, and Jessica were relieved.
あら、皆様、ここにいらっしゃられたんですか。てっきり海岸へ行かれたとばかり。
Shannon-chan, carrying a basket, was surprised to find us all gathered in front of the portrait.
シャノンか。いやさ、バトラはベアトリーチェの肖像画を初めて見るからさ。まあ、見とれてたってわけだぜ。
そうですね。見とれちゃいますね。ベアトリーチェ様って、本当にお綺麗です。さぞや、親方様を虜になさったろうと思います。
パトロン説の他にも、おじい様の初恋の人だという説もあるんだ。どちらにせよ、彼女に出会ってから数十年を経ているだろうにもかかわらず、今なお心の中に大きく居座り続けているんだから、それは今なお虜にしているということなんだろうね。
やれやれ。これじゃ、ばあ様はさぞや嫉妬しただろうぜ。
私はよく知らねえけど、やっぱりそういうのはあったらしいぜ。ばあ様は金髪の浮気相手がいると信じてたらしいな。
いい匂い。シャノンからいい匂い。
Maria, sniffing, approached the basket Shannon-chan was holding with interest. Now that you mention it, I do notice a fragrant scent with the essence of vanilla.
申し訳ございません。
My light changed. I now noticed it. Alright.
熊沢さんからこれを皆さんにお届けするようにことづかりました。
なんだろう。素敵だね。クッキーだ。
クッキー食べたい。クッキー食べたい。お召し上がりいただけますよ。でも、
Unsure whether it was really acceptable to serve cookies in a place like this in front of the portrait, Shannon-chan sent us a glance which seemed to ask what we wanted to do. Well, thinking about it, yeah, that would be bad manners.
マリア、ここじゃなくてよそで食べようぜ。クッキーをお弁当にピクニックに行こう。
ピクニック行こう。ピクニック行こ れるなら行こう。
そうだな。ちょっと表の空気を吸いに行くか。魔女様の御前でつまみ食いもねえもんだぜ。
そうだ。もともと私たちは浜辺に行こうって言ってたんじゃねえか。行こうぜ行こうぜ。
シャノンちゃん、申し訳ないんだけど、腰を下ろせる敷物と水筒にお茶を入れてきてもらうのをお願いしてもいいかな。
See, I was right. There's even more tea time happening. Yep. Yay, beach episode. Food again. Yes. Now I want cookies too.
かしこまりました。
And tea. Shannon-chan received her instructions and gracefully bowed before retracing her steps. We headed for the beach on our own. Everyone headed for the entrance in a group. Feeling as though that witch was staring down at our backs, I turned around once more.
アトラ、まだ信じてない？
いや、信じるぜ。その方が夢があるしな。黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェがじい様に10トンの黄金を授けた。それで、その黄金がどこかに眠っているかもしれない。しかもそいつを、じい様は怪しげな碑文に書き残し、見つけられるもんなら見つけてみろと俺たちを挑発してるってんじゃねえか。こういうロマンはあった方がいいってもんさ。
200億円の黄金か。私たち4人で山分けしたってとんでもない金額になるな。
一人頭50億円か。すごいね。それだけあったらどんな事業でも起こせそうだよ。いや、そもそも働かずに生涯を優雅に過ごせるだろうね。
50億円よりクッキークッキー。
マリアには金よりクッキーだな。しかし、50億円か。夢のある話さ。
バカバカしい。
Oh, we're back here.
まさかお前たちは親父殿の黄金伝説を本当に信じているのかね。
Back in the stressful room. Yeah, that's my exact reaction, Bluneko.
魔女が黄金を与えた云々はさすがに信じねえさ。だが黄金の話だけは間違いじゃない。
お父様が出自不明の金塊を持っていたことは複数の筋から確認されているわ。死んだマルソーの会長は生前、お父様に某所で積み上げられた金塊を実際に見せられたという。お父様はそれを指して、10トン分あるとはっきり明言したわ。
老いぼれのざれ言じゃないか。親父殿と一緒に存在しない黄金の存在をでっち上げただけだ。取るにも足らない。
存在せん黄金にあないな軍資金は集まらへんで。会長さんは生前、その真摯なお人柄であれだけ大勢の財界人から尊敬を集めたお人や。詐欺の片棒なんか担がへん。
兄貴、マルソーの会長は確かに見たんだ。10トンの黄金をはっきりとその目で。しかも親父はそのインゴットの一つを任意で抜き取らせ、会長に持ち帰らせて鑑定させた。
Oh my god.
それは10キロのインゴットで、鑑定結果は純度49。インゴット表面には後宮家の家紋である片翼の鷲が刻印されていたという。
後宮の黄金伝説は瞬く間に財界のフィクサーたちの間に広がったわ。鋳造元不明の黄金は換金率が悪い。ボロ儲けのチャンスだと思った彼らはそれを担保に認め、結果お父様は莫大な融資を受けることができた。
バカバカしいにも程があるじゃないか。お前たちはいくつになるんだ。まだそんな子供の頃のおとぎ話を真に受けているのかね。第一、その10トンの黄金の証拠はどこにあるんだ。親父殿と親交の深かったごく一部の人間のざれ言だけじゃないか。
もちろん口伝だけさ。でもよ兄貴、 親父が調達した莫大な金は、それに見合う担保が必要だった。仮に黄金がデマでも、それに匹敵する価値あるお宝を親父が見せたのは、紛れもない事実じゃねえのかい？
都市空間の親父殿が作った黄金幻想さ。ありもしない黄金をあるかに振る舞い、スポンサーたちを騙したんだ。一世一代の大博打だったのだろう。運よくその資産の運用に成功できた。もし当時の外需拡大がなかったら後宮家の再興はならず、親父殿は正規のペテン師として追われていただろう。
じゃあクラウス兄さんは黄金など最初から存在せず、全てお父さんのでっち上げだ言うんか？
もちろんさ。だから十分な成功を収めた後には黄金幻想など面倒なだけだった。だから親父殿は魔女だの黒魔術だのとわけのわからないことを後に言い出して信憑性を薄めたのさ。つまり黄金幻想がでっち上げであることを明かしたのだよ。魔女に黄金を授かったなどと言えば、もはや誰も黄金の存在を信じたりはしまい。あるいはお前たちのために言い出したのかもしれないな。なのに、ありもしない黄金を遺産分配に含めて議論しようというバカな息子たちが現れる。ローザ。まさかお前までこんなでっち上げを信じてるって言うんじゃないだろうな。
私はお父様が本当に黄金を持っていたかどうかを確かめることはできない。でもお父様の4人の子供の一人として正当な分を主張したいだけよ。
ほう、ローザも言うようになったじゃないか。なるほど。お前たちはこう言いたいわけかね。私が黄金を独り占めしようとしていると。
兄さんが莫大な軍資金を調達したのは事実。それがお父様の個人資産の横領では断じてありえないというなら、つまりはそういうことよ。
兄貴はすでに10トンの金塊を見つけてるんじゃないかって。俺たちはそう見てるのさ。
バカバカしい。そんなものは元より存在しない。
じゃあ説明なさいよ。お父様の財産の横領、お父様の隠し黄金。そのどちらでもないなら、どうやってあれだけの軍資金を調達できたっていうの？
Man, the music is really, really there.
私にも政界財界に友人が多くいてね。
It's giving me chills down my spine.
彼らから協力を得ただけに過ぎんよ。
Exactly that emote. That's exactly it.
それについてお前たちに説明する義務はない。分かっているだろう。話せぬ方面の筋もある。
兄貴がそうだと言い張るんならそれでいいさ。でもよ兄貴、親父は長くない。来年の今日まで生きてるなんて誰にも保証できねえんだぜ。親父が死ねばその時点で遺産相続だ。俺たちは全員の立場から中立な弁護士と会計士を立てて親父の財政状況を調査させるぜ。
その時、お父様の資産に兄さんが不当な干渉をしていることが発覚したなら、お分かりね。
何の話だかさっぱりわからんね。妻でなくても憤慨したい気持ちだ。
お父さんの黄金はもちろんお父さんの財産や。表に出せん金やっちゅうのも分かっとる。しかし4人に公平な権利があるはずや。
つまり兄貴が黄金を独り占めしていないかどうか、兄貴についても財務状況を調査させてもらうぜってことなのさ。
いい機会じゃない。兄さんの言うところの友人知人にバックアップしてもらったというところを証明なさいよ。そうすれば兄さんは潔白。私たちはくだらない疑いを持ってしまったことを潔く謝れるわ。ねえ、ローザ。
そうね。クラウス兄さんこそ 話をはぐらかしてるわ。やましいところがないというなら、証明してくれればいいだけの話なのに、兄さんはまるで取り合おうとしてくれない。
だがまあ、兄貴の立場にも配慮するさ。親父の名代ということで、俺たちより一つ多く責任を背負ってるところもあるだろう。今まで散々気楽に過ごしてきた俺たちが、それを察しないでブーブー言うのは、こりゃフェアな話じゃないぜ。
ほう、さっきから落とされたり持ち上げられたりと忙しい。本題に入りたまえ。
つまりな、お父さんの財産をあれこれ調べて重箱の隅をつっつくんはブスやないかって話なんや。
If I think that Kraus has been embezzling, I don't know. Like, this whole conversation is he said, she said kind of situation. Like, I don't know who to believe. I don't particularly like any of the characters here, like on a, you know, emotional connection or anything. So I'm just letting it play out. I don't particularly have an opinion right now. I can't say. Kitty is sitting this whole conversation out. Yeah. I mean, she was asked to shut up, so she is, I suppose. One thing that I would say at this point in time, given everything that I have seen thus far, I think if he is embezzling his father, that's such a boring direction for the story to go into. Like, it would be more interesting for it to be something else, but let's see.
クラウス兄さんの言う通り、うまく説明できん金の動きもあるやろ。そこを理解した上で、わしらは兄さんに相談を持ってきたんや。お互いにとって悪うない相談や。
相談？ほう。
遺産分配時に、今日まで親父の面倒を見てきてくれた兄貴のご苦労を最大限に汲み取り。
間違えないでよ。別に私たちの権利を放棄するって言ってるわけじゃないのよ。ただ、その権利を主張する際に、兄さんの立場に立った寛大な理解があってもいいんじゃないかしら、ということなのよ。
つまり、条件を飲んでくれたら、わしらは遺産分配時に、お父さんの財務状況調査をクラウス兄さんに一任してもいいっちゅうこっちゃ。
All the siblings from Eva downwards suspected that Kraus was trying to steal their father's wealth. In that situation, letting Kraus report on the state of their father's wealth by himself was extremely contradictory and a huge concession. If, as they claimed, Kraus was actually embezzling money, Kraus would be able to hide that fact. Besides that, it would also be possible for him to control the distribution of the inheritance in a manner favorable to himself. Kraus, also realizing that this sounded too good to be true, couldn't help but feel doubt. He had to worry about what they would ask in return for such a compromise.
ほう、信用ゼロの私に長兄としての信頼を返してくれるというのか。その見返りは何だね。
同じ兄弟としての公平な権利さ。俺たちの兄貴は親父の財産をかすめ取るようなやつじゃない。だがしかし、兄貴に融資するパトロンも存在しない。となりゃ、つまりこういうことなら兄弟は納得するわけさ。
兄さんは10トンの黄金を見つけ、それを担保に軍資金を作った。そう。お父様がかつてそうしたようにね。
そういうことなら、お父さんの財務状況におかしな点は一切あらへん。クラウス兄さんはずっとお父さんの世話をしてきた高校息子や。そないなお人を信用せんわけにはいかへん。
回りくどくて分かりづらいな。もっとはっきり具体的に言いたまえ。
条件の一つ目。まず兄貴は、親父の黄金を見つけていたことを認めること。
ありもしない黄金を私が持っていると認めろと。
条件2。その黄金について、 兄弟の取り分を認めこれを支払うこと。
バカな。ありもしない200億の黄金について一人頭50億、合計150億を支払えというのか。バカバカしい。
最後まで聞きなはれ。そない大金出てくるのは分かっとる。でけへん取引はするつもりないで。
Onions when they cry. So many layers of scheming. I know, right? I'm struggling to keep up with everything, but okay.
もちろん黄金の取り分についてもクラウス兄さんの今日までのご苦労を十分にねぎらって換算するつもりや。
条件3。黄金の分配は後宮本家当主跡継ぎの肩書きに 50%、 残りを兄弟の正当な取り分として分割。もちろんクラウス兄さんもこれには含めるわよ。
200億のうち125億を兄貴に、25億をエヴァ姉さんに、25億を俺に、25億をローザに。
ありがたくて涙が出る分配じゃない。存在しない黄金のためにお前たちに75億支払えというのかね。
何よ、兄さんの取り分は私たちの5倍じゃない。私なら踊り上がっちゃう好条件よ。
条件の4、分配金は親父の死亡時に遺産分配に含めて清算する。ただし手付金として俺たちの取り分の 10% を即納してもらう。支払いは来年3月までだ。
どやクラウス兄さん、お父さんの財産をめぐる信頼を回復する絶好のチャンスやないか。さすがに75億の大金はお父さんが亡くなったからやないと無理やろ。だが手付けの7億半はなんとかできんこともないんとちゃうか。
半年で7億ってのはちょいとしんどい話だが、政界財界に友人が多いってのが自慢の兄貴ならなんとかできるだろ。
本当なら今すぐ75億を一括で払ってもらいたいところよ。でも兄さんの立場に配慮してとりあえず1割を納める誠意を見せてくれたら、残りの9割は遺産分配時に持ち越してくれていいってことなのね。1割程度の誠意なら兄さんにだって示せるんじゃない？
親父殿の財政状況調査を私に一任する権利を7億5千万で売りつけようというのかね。上等じゃないか。お前たちも成長したものだ。この私に取引を持ちかけられるようになるとは。
これらを兄さんが飲むなら、私たち兄弟はお父様の財産状況調査を兄さんに一任する。ただしその調査結果は公弁の対象となる。当然よね。75億分私たちの取り分が減るように調整されちゃったら悲しいもの。
原則的に文句は言わねえつもりだ。兄貴が綺麗にやってくれたならそれでいい。よっぽど露骨なことをしなけりゃ俺たちはことを荒立てるつもりなんかねえんだ。俺たちだって早く遺産は欲しい。いつまでもグダグダして取りっぱぐれたくねえんだ。
公弁された場合の再調査は誰がするのかね。
Yeah, it's quite long. I was kind of waiting for a moment to come where we could do a save and leave it there for tonight because it's getting late and I really need to rest. But yeah, let's see a few more lines, see where this goes.
兄さんでいいわ。多分これが兄弟で合議する最初で最後の機会だもの。そんなことにはならないと信じてる。
ローザもたまには言うわね。
That Kraus was not trusted whatsoever as the oldest sibling was by now so obvious that it requires no explanation. The formerly tyrannical oldest brother would always abuse his privileges and infringe upon the other siblings' shares. In response to that, the other three, now adults, were for the first time striking back at him by working together.
申し訳ないが、条件はまだ続くんや。
Okay, more conditions. Okay, I think it's fine. That sentence encapsulates what has been happening thus far, and I think it's better to make a save here and then we keep going with the rest of the conditions next time, because at this moment I am too tired to even have my mind keep up with them. Jeez, the tension. Wait. Here. Title, yes. Oof. Yeah, thank you for being there. Let me switch to here. My light again switched to green. I don't know why. LEDs. I wanted it to be red. And there's the camera being weird. Yeah, I will look into it and see what happened and how to make it better for next time. I even restarted my PC, so there's really something that I need to change, it seems. Maybe update the drivers for it too. Maybe that makes it better. Oh, going to England. Oh, nice. Have a safe trip, take care, and I guess enjoy your stay there. Where exactly will you be going? If I may ask, of course. If it's private, obviously, I don't mean to be nosy. Manchester. All right, nice. Enjoy your time. Windows is just Windows. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Every time I start OBS, this is just how it has been working with this camera. Every time I start OBS, I have to set the contrast and brightness and stuff, because it just keeps resetting to some default values. But I already know what those values are, right? So I go, I set it, and then I start the stream. And today I set it. I also had to, usually I unset the exposure from being automatic to just a certain value so it doesn't fluctuate. And I did it the same this time, and it just, to me, it looks weird. And also the frame rate was like really weird and stuff. It was like, it felt really low. And so I tried whatever I could. I restarted it. It was the same, and in the end I had to leave the exposure on automatic. So if I make certain movements and the exposure of the image changes, it's because of that. So I will look into what I could do to not have it behave that way. It's weird. Next stream will be less financial. Sorry about that dry money negotiating part. Oh, you don't have to apologize. It's part of the story. It's what happens, and so there's the conversation. It's fine. I feel like sometimes I can maybe learn from it is not necessarily the right word, but like it's okay for me to be exposed to certain types of conversations that I don't encounter in real life that often. It's fine. It sounds very strange. Sounds like it's sent to for a fresh format scene. No. It's probably some weird driver thing or something. I will experiment with it a bit more and figure it out. There must be something that can be done for sure. See, now the exposure changed a little bit and it's weird, but yeah, it's tiny. I notice it because I know how it should look. Maybe for you guys it just looks the same and I'm sounding like a crazy person talking about nonsense. But yeah, it is what it is. It's fine. We hit 2 hour and 20 minutes something mark on the stream today, so that's good. Sorry about starting late, and I will not keep you up any longer. Thank you so much for joining and for the lovely chats as always. Curious to see where this is going. We're starting to kind of enter the meat of the matter. There's no more like polite saving face, you know, political kind of diplomatic attitudes. It's like everyone is baring their teeth and their claws, like. Argh. So yeah, curious to see what more there is in store in that direction. There was a blink. Yeah, you can probably notice it. I know, I've noticed it. There's been a couple. Brightness, so you see it as well. Yeah, right? Right? Okay. Yeah, so I'm not crazy, at least. Yeah. Yeah, now it's changed again. This is more or less how I would want it to be. But if I set the brightness on like not automatic and set it to a manual value, it would be too bright and then weird frame rate issues. So anyway, I will experiment with that tomorrow and see what I can figure out for a Thursday stream. Until then, take care of yourselves, rest well, do all of the good healthy stuff for yourselves, your body, and also for the lovely people that you have around you. And yeah, I'll see you again Thursday, same time. Do my best to not be late. With MS Teams, I don't know. Teams is a mystery into itself. It's like it's a whole topic in its own right. So yeah, I can't claim to know anything much about it. The light is green again. Why? Red. Thank you. All right, guys. Teams changed a lot of things in my audio setup too, so maybe you can look up this. Yeah, but well, I have no Teams in my in my personal PC. So red, please. Yeah. Night night. Take care. Thanks so much for dropping by. See you Thursday. I will figure out the camera somehow. It must be solvable. Yeah. Take care. Love you all. Bye. Red means sleep. Yes. Good night.